Every year, Rockford athletes put in the off-season work to shine under the bright lights and the biggest stages.
As challenges like COVID came along, they fought through adversity to meet the Rockford athlete success standard.
When COVID became less of a concern this spring season, athletics finally started to go back to normal. But as life always shows us, there can be other things that get in the way.
Yeah, whether it was getting a new coach, losing talented athletes due to injury, or having some extremely tough opponents, our athletes continue to work hard to get where they finished, and Ram Center had the chance to highlight it.
Our Rockford spring teams and athletes had some stellar seasons. 5 of these teams got the chance to compete at states, 54 athletes were all-conference, and 25 athletes were all-state.
We had the chance to learn about the success of many of our teams and athletes. All this and more on this episode of Ram Center. I'm Jonah Carlson.
And I'm Liam Peterson. Ram Center Spring starts now.
This is Ram Center.
Throughout the spring season, many athletes had some spectacular achievements and some amazing plays. In a home softball game, Peyton Steffes ripped a line drive out to left field. She was able to use her speed and round first base and slide into second.
Faith Bardwell won a game against East Kentwood was able to advance against the defender and shoot an amazing goal to lead them to victory.
USF lacrosse commit Izzy Osborne was able to move to the right side and score a goal past the defender.
Like these players who had great years, the girls softball team also had a great season.
They had an awesome season for sure, but it certainly wasn't easy. They ended up winning 25 out of their 38 games.
Throughout their season, they had tough competitors, including Hudsonville and Jenison.
These teams always put up a hard fight, creating some really close games.
Overall, girls softball had a very triumphant season. 3 of these athletes, Camden Binney, Audrey Wendland, and Peyton Steffes, received all-conference.
I think it's safe to say that Rockford has produced some outstanding athletes over the years.
I completely agree, but sometimes people tend to forget about the other things that these student athletes are involved in. We think that it is important to start looking beyond the athlete.
One athlete, Peyton Steffes, a softball and track all-conference athlete, has a lot more going on than one may have thought. Natalie Allshouse had the chance to talk with Peyton and learn more about her life with academics and athletics.
Peyton Steffes, a student here at Rockford High School, is a hardworking athlete and scholar. Many times people just tend to focus on the athletes and how well they do in their particular sport. But there's so much more to them than just their athletics, even if it is something that takes up a lot of their time. There's a lot to learn about Peyton, in athletics, but beyond the athlete as well. This past year, Peyton has had a busy schedule as she was involved in 2 varsity sports at the same time.
So I could do track after school for a couple hours, and then I'd go to softball practice after that for another 2 hours, and I wouldn't get home till like 7:30. Once the season started, it was more Monday, Wednesday, I would do track meets if I could. We also have softball practice, so I would go to softball practice and then leave early to go to a track meet. And then Tuesday and Thursdays for softball, we would have double headers, and Fridays were kind of just my practice days for softball. And then Saturdays, I'd usually go to a track invite.
Doing 2 varsity sports during the same season isn't easy, but it gets to a whole different level of difficult when having honors and AP classes as well.
3 honors classes and an AP class.
Her busy schedule wasn't easy. Doing so much at once forced her to learn some important time management skills.
I kind of figured out what classes I needed to spend more time with. I learned that if I was comfortable with the class, I didn't need to spend as much work with it.
With having 2 varsity sports and difficult classes, things can get pretty stressful. But over the years, Peyton has found good ways to cope with it.
Sometimes I just kind of, put my AirPods in and just listen to music and kind of zone things out. Tee work for me for softball is just like hitting a ball off a tee. That's like super stress relieving.
Even with so much going on, Peyton is still able to spend some of her time with the people who mean most to her.
Spending time with my family, because I spend so much time away from them when I'm doing sports. Hanging out with my sister, and we'll go for coffee runs or go shopping. I like to spend time with friends a lot too. I try to do that so I have a social life outside of softball. It's really important to kind of balance those things.
Even though being involved in so much might be stressful, Peyton has had a lot of good memories from her experiences, and one in particular she will never forget.
I won the game with a double, and the best part of it, though, was just my teammates' reaction. And so they got to run out from the dugout, and we all kind of just hugged each other.
Peyton Steffes is an outstanding athlete, student, and person. All of her hard work has certainly paid off. This has been Natalie Allshouse with Beyond the Rock, signing off.
Props to Peyton for being so well-rounded and having so much success in the spring season.
Rams Center learned about another team that had great success during their season. We will see what went down after the break.
Sportsmanship starts young. We're all on the same team, so why not treat your opponents like your teammates? Acting out not only makes yourself look bad, but makes others lose respect for you and your team. Next time you're upset with another player, think before you act. You can't change the way of the game, but you can change how you respond.
Watch somebody.
The lessons you learn when you're young pay off in the future. Sportsmanship. Teach them young.
The Rockford boys rugby team started off their season strong, winning their very first game against East Kentwood 26-0.
This team continued having excellent performances as they were able to pull out a win against the Traverse City Alliance 29-22 and Granville 47-10.
Throughout the season, the rugby team continued to win many of their games, allowing them to be one of the 5 teams here at Rockford that had the chance to compete for a state title.
Not only did they compete, but they dominated and were able to take home the gold as well as completing their season goal.
The trap and skeet team here at Rockford had a challenging start to the season. Although their coach stepped down, who had a big impact on them, they gained an excited and determined coach who would lead them to a successful season.
They struggled in the beginning, working out the kinks of a new system, but they began to find more confidence and became more competitive with other teams. When the conference shoots finally rolled around, the team had some outstanding performances.
The varsity squad of Riley Carroll, Reese Vanderplow, and Blake Carlson took first place in skeet, shooting 292 out of 300. Nolan Meacham, Isaac DeGeest, and Mark McIntyre all shot a perfect round in skeet as well. These examples show how far hard work can take you.
The trap and skeet team certainly spent a lot of time focusing and practicing to be able to get to where they are, but this team was also able to have a little bit of fun.
They were able to compete in a friendly competition against our very own principal, Mr. Hosford, to see who really is the trap and skeet champion.
I'm Riley Zanster with Haas vs. the Rams, and today we're at the Rockford Sportsman Club with Caitlin Dyer from the Rockford Rams Nitro Shotgun team, and she'll be facing off against Mr. Hosford.
Haas versus the Rams. And here we go. Here's the rules of the match. Both contestants will get the same amount of shots to shoot as many clay pigeons as possible. Whoever hits the most takes the crown on this episode of Haas versus the Rams. Caitlin up first with the steady shot. Next up, Principal Hosford with the, close call, Hosford. Caitlin just consistent today. Oh, look at that one. Went right by him. Caitlin with a nice couple of quick shots there, and Hosford is not out of it yet. Both Caitlin and Hosford are just in the groove today. Caitlin might have him by a little bit. The sun's not out today, but the guns definitely are. At the end of the day, it looks like Caitlin took this one over Mr. Hosford. Riley?
And that brings our total to Rams 3, Haas 1. Mr. Hosford, did you exceed your expectations for yourself today?
You know, I certainly did, but it was fun watching Caitlin. She's incredible, the way she prepares and visualizes, and her footwork and hand-eye coordination was just incredible to watch. I appreciate the Rockford Nitro Shotgun team welcoming us up here today during the summertime and off-season. So it's great job, Caitlin.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
And I'm Riley Zanster with Beyond the Rock, signing off.
Our trap and skeet team, they're really talented. And Mr. Hosford, he wasn't able to keep up.
They had a lot of accomplishments throughout their season, and they have a lot of success ahead of them. We are all very excited for what this team and their new coach will be able to do in future seasons.
Another team that was a new addition to Rockford Athletics was the boys volleyball team.
Their program had a solid year, developing their players and working as a team. Although they lost in their district finals, we congratulate them on a successful season.
They focused on building a base as they had summer camps to develop youth athletes. Make sure to look out for those future boys volleyball players and watch them shine in the spring.
Hannah Richter talked to coach and son duo Becky and Ben Lewis about their season.
This year, Rockford High School introduced a new varsity sport to the spring season roster, men's volleyball. Head coach Becky Lewis led the charge.
Well, my son is a senior, and he has wanted a boys volleyball team for years, and so we could not find another coach, so here I am. I played in high school. I played club at Grand Valley. I coached the JV volleyball team here at Rockford about 20 years ago for 7-8 years, and I just have been playing my entire life.
Unlike Coach Lewis, most of the boys are new to the sport of volleyball.
I have not had any past volleyball experience.
I've never really played volleyball before.
Absolutely none. It was not an interest at all until then asked me to come play.
There's a variety of positions in high school volleyball. Each player has their favorite.
My favorite position is outside hitter, but I play middle blocker.
Yeah, definitely setter because you get to touch the ball every play.
I like playing setter and outside hitter.
I'd say hitter's probably my favorite position.
Coach Lewis is most looking forward to the boys' improvement.
Just they're so athletic and their love for the sport.
And hopefully these improvements can lead to big successes this season.
Our goal is really, to make it past districts.
This year being a first-year sport, I just want to have fun and see how far we can make it.
As a team, I think our goal is to go really far in states.
I'd say our goals as a team is to make it to the finals and win the championship. We played the best team in the state and we lost to them, but we definitely could have beat them, so I'd like to get there and possibly make it to states this year.
If you've never had a chance to support men's volleyball, make sure you check it out as they set out to achieve their goals. This has been Hannah Richter with Beyond the Rock, signing off.
The boys volleyball team certainly had a great year. I can't wait to see what they'll accomplish in their seasons to come.
Rockford boys baseball team had a very impressive season as well. They may have lost a lot of seniors who played some pretty large roles, but this young team has a bright future.
Many juniors and sophomores really stepped up this year, allowing them to have a great year. Juniors like Jackson Burkholder and Alex McLean and sophomore Andrew Landis led this team to success.
This team played their hearts out and had a 25-8 record. Then they were able to tie for first place at the conference championship.
They fought hard in the playoffs, but got knocked out in the first round. Even at that, this team still had a season to remember.
The Rockford baseball team has always been pretty impressive, and the coaches who lead the team have each had their own baseball history.
So this is my 7th year at Rockford on the varsity team.
Well, I played in Rockford. I played for Coach Vriesinga. It's a good program, good school, and I love giving back to the community and being around the kids. I think they teach me more about the game than I teach them.
This team has their eye on the prize for their season to come, but these goals are all things within their reach.
So our goal is always to win the conference, and then hopefully win a district, and then whatever happens after that is, kind of icing on the cake.
Last year we lost regional championship, Hudsonville. I guarantee we'll beat them again if we face them there.
They might have some challenges to face, but it's nothing that this talented team can't handle.
The difference between this year and last year is last year we had a lot of seniors on the team, and this year we only have 3.
Definitely that we lost 16 seniors last year. Now we only have 3 seniors on the team, so it's like a whole different dynamic.
We got a pretty young team, pretty talented. I'd say our bats are probably the strength of the team. A lot of energy, a lot of depth in the team for sure.
We have a lot of guys who can hit and a lot of guys who can play baseball.
Even with all the hard work, this team is still able to make some memories that they will never forget.
My best memory so far is probably pitching my first game against East Kentwood.
My favorite memory this year so far in the baseball season was when we were in Florida. We got to wear whatever we wanted to practice one day, and some of us were pretty creative with what we wore.
We hope this team will be able to achieve everything that they have worked for. This has been Natalie Allshouse with Beyond the Rock, signing off.
We wish this team the best in their seasons to come.
Coming up next, we get the chance to take a look at the girls' soccer team and their journey throughout their season, and all the hard work they put in to make it happen.
All this and more right after the break.
Sports isn't something you do alone. It takes a village. Your team becomes your family, and your sport becomes your responsibility. Sportsmanship is working together, sacrificing, and encouraging one another to not give up. It's not just about your team. It's about your opponents, the referees, the parents, and the community. Sportsmanship is a part of it all. Do your part and practice sportsmanship.
Tuesday, March 29th, marked the beginning of what would be a very strong girls soccer season.
They certainly have a lot to be proud of, as they won their first game against Granville, winning 4-1.
The girls continued their season with a strong winning record. They were district champs and even had the chance to go to the regional semifinals.
Not only that, but they also had a lot of individual success as well, with Alina Anderson, Megan McCauley, Ellie Obanoff, Emily Hurst, Willa Cairns, Hallie Barnard were all voted to the all-conference team.
They had a record of 13-3-2, and they only lost to Hudsonville. They had a very close game in the regular season, losing 1-0.
This team also had a great year defensively, only conceding 5 goals. They had an incredibly dominant spring season.
Every team really brought their A game throughout the season. The Rams delivered in the games and matches they competed in.
Girls tennis is another team that's included in this. They worked hard, and it certainly showed. These girls earned all the success they received.
Now we'll send you down to Maddie Hosford to learn more about what this girls tennis team accomplished.
Thanks, Liam. The girls tennis team had a lot of success during their season. They needed 18 points to make the cut, and they received 19, punching their ticket to the state finals. This team may have had a lot of success athletically, but the friendships and camaraderie were very important to them too. The girls wanted to create a positive environment, which they did, and it helped the team's performance in the end. These girls came in 3rd at the OK Red Conference, then continued their journey to the regional tournament and placed 2nd. This allowed them to go to the state championship, and as expected, they faced some tough competition, but we congratulate them on a great year.
Hey Jonah, you know we have more sports offered than any other school in the state?
I did not know that.
We even have a very successful crew team. The crew team had a great year as they made a lot of progress and hit the goals that they wanted to accomplish.
The team's biggest events were the Grand Rapids Invitational and Midwest and State Regattas.
At the Grand Rapids Invitational, most of their boats placed in the top 3. The girls team got first overall and the guys got second overall.
Midwest was their opportunity to qualify for nationals in New Jersey. The girls varsity 8 boat placed second in their final heat, and the boys varsity 4 also qualified for nationals.
Unfortunately, due to another boat crashing into the girls JV 8 boat, they did not place in the top 3.
The crew coach petitioned to get a spot at nationals for such an unfair event, and they were accepted to travel to New Jersey to compete at the national event.
The crew team made lots of improvements and shined at states, with the boys JV 8 receiving gold and a trophy for the first place finish, with many other Rockford boats receiving second and third place medals.
The season was incredibly packed and filled with excitement, making every day of practice well worth it.
This year, the Rockford track and field team was super dominant.
Sometimes the sport might come down to the individual athletes and their performances.
But even with the strong dependence of individuality in the sport, these athletes were able to perform at their very best, allowing this team to many achievements.
The girls' track team had a very competitive season. They were battling East Kentwood for the conference title.
Each of these teams had a perfect record up until the conference season dual meet. Rockford won, which put them a win above East Kentwood going into the conference championship.
At the conference meet, Rockford needed a win to receive the outright conference title, and they pulled it off and solidified their route to regionals.
The girls' track team was undefeated, going 12-0. They were conference champs, regional champs, and MITCA state champs, which allowed them to compete at the D1 state finals, where they were able to place 6th.
This team was another one of the 5 teams that was able to compete in states, and they had a lot of success.
7 girls received all-state honors, and 4 boys from the 4x100 relay team also received all-state.
They had many athletes that stood out, but one in particular was Maya Anderson. She is an amazing athlete, and this season she was able to break the long jump record.
Athletes here at Rockford have been absolutely killing it.
These athletes are certainly getting what they've worked for.
Next, we'll send you down to Allshouse and take a little bit of a closer look at the girls and boys lacrosse teams and their outstanding seasons.
Thanks, Liam. The girls and boys lacrosse team fought hard for their wins, and they had great outcomes because of it. The boys team had 5 all-state honorees, and the girls had 3. The girls team was able to advance pretty far in the postseason as they made their way to regionals. They put up a good fight, but sadly, the journey ended there for them as they lost a close battle 7-6. The boys team definitely made the best of their season as they made it all the way to the regional championships. But sadly, their journey ended there for them as they lost to Granville, which was a huge competitor of theirs. Big shout out to everyone in the lacrosse program for an amazing year.
The Rockford boys golf team was one of the many teams that was putting in the work.
They lost a lot of talent from the year before, but they were determined to put in the work with what they had.
They were led by the 3-headed monster of Ty Marleski, Jason Boltman, and Jordan Fortuna. They ended up receiving conference runner-up.
Jordan Fortuna shot the low 9-hole round of the year with a 34, 2 under par at Sunnybrook Country Club.
Hunter Schuling came in first at the Loop Invitational, shooting a 75, 3 over par at a super challenging course.
Juniors on the team added consistent scores and helped the Rams in many conference matches and invitationals.
Although they had a rough day at regionals and didn't qualify for states, this team had many accomplishments, and Coach Scoder and the rest of the Rockford boys golf team have a lot of things to be proud of. All of our teams here at Rockford have had a lot of success throughout the spring season. I know the community is proud of each and every sport.
Last but certainly not least of the sports that we have covered here today, water polo was able to execute and perform all of their goals throughout the season.
With 16 academic all-state athletes and multiple guys and girls on the team winning many different awards, this team has a whole lot to be proud of.
This team had to overcome many things to achieve what they did.
They faced extremely tough opponents and worked really hard to get where they finished. The boys water polo team was second in the OK Conference with a 6-1 record.
They were the district champs, regional champs, and had a chance to compete at the states, placing 4th. Their overall season record was rather impressive as they won 30 games, tied 8, and only lost 3.
The girls team had a great season as well, as 17 varsity girls received academic all-state.
And one of the athletes on this talented team, named Josie Gears, was even able to make the All-American team.
This team had an awesome season as their conference record was 7-2. Their overall record was 24-12, and they had a first-place finish at the districts and second-place finish at the regionals and states. One last congratulations to all the athletes, coaches, and administrators who helped make this a great spring season.
Well, that's all we have for our Rams Center Spring Edition. Make sure to tune in this fall for another memorable Rockford Rams sports season.
Once again, I'm Liam Peterson.
And I'm Jonah Carlson. We will see you this fall, Rams.